Go live here. All right, looks like we are live. All right, now I'll go ahead and start the recording. All right, record to the cloud. Welcome everybody. This is Richard Roop with richardroop.com. And tonight we're doing something very special. Every month for my JV partners and my platinum members in $1 Million Coaching, me and Mark, we put together an inner game call. We do it every month. We got a huge library of great calls that we can point people to when they have a particular issue. And tonight we decided to open it up because the nature of what we're talking about today is extremely valuable for anybody. Wouldn't you say, Mark, that what we're going to cover, everybody can benefit from this? You know, even if you're not even a real estate investor. But we're going to focus in on how to make money as a real estate investor using this technology. Okay, so the title of the call is Turning Your Dreams into Reality. So it's our inner game call. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Looks like we are live there. And then let's go to our call outline. So we do have a call outline. I put it in, I think I put it, did I put it in the chat, guys? Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's a link to the call notes. Okay, so these are our call notes. If you're listening to the replay, you can actually, or if you're watching live, you can go ahead and unlock the resources that go with this call by clicking this button and you'll get the replay. The replay will be up in about 48, 72 hours after the call. This call is going to go about 45 minutes and then we're going to open it up to Q&A. All right. So how do you achieve anything in your life? This is a simple, easy, and proven method for turning your dreams into reality. So what we're going to start with is the 5-step formula for success. Now, if you've been to any of my boot camps, if you've gone through any of my training systems, then we actually always cover this. That's how important it is, okay? So there's 5 steps. If you run through these steps, you can pretty much achieve anything that you want. So we're going to talk about why you would not achieve it. You know, how could you fail at this? But if you follow this process, you're going to achieve 90% of the goals that you set. Now, I want to ask everybody, how many people have goals in writing with a date that you're actively working towards, okay? It's just such a best practice, right? We've heard a lot of this stuff before, but do we actually do it, okay, on a consistent basis? So step number 1 is you're going to set a goal. What do you want to do, be, or have? So we're going to use an example tonight of making $120,000, add that to your existing income, you know, an extra $120,000, okay? So we're going to use that kind of as an example to demonstrate some stuff. But number 1, you have to set a goal. So let's say we're going to make an extra $125,000. Okay, that's what we want to have, right? You want to make it smart. So I'm going to walk you through the SMART formula. Okay, you want to start with your outcome in mind. Okay, what's the end result? And suspend how you're going to do it, because that will put some roadblocks and some filters on, you know, what's actually possible for you. Just decide whatever you want. And we are going to make it realistic and all that, but suspend how you're going to do that. That's going to be the second step, okay? First step is to set a goal. Imagine the ideal situation related to that goal. And then you got to know your evidence for achieving that, all right? We'll talk more about that. And then believe that it's possible. So you wouldn't want to set goals that you don't believe is possible. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And then know your reasons and your big why for setting the goal. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an additional resource, okay? we're going to talk about setting a goal, but we're also I'm going to give you another resource that you can use to get really in touch with your big why related to the goal that you set. So if you go to Repodia.com, okay, go to Repodia.com, and if you scroll down to the bottom, down here hidden somewhere, right down here, it's kind of hidden, it says Income Doubler, okay? This is my one-on-one JV program, so I don't want a lot of people, filling up my time with it. So anybody who wants to, great, but I'm not doing a big push on it. That's why it's kind of hidden. But if you go down there and hit Income Doubler, it explains how I'm looking for people that want to double their income over the next 6 or 12 months and then work together on that goal. And the reason why I want to bring this up is because we always start with this process. When I'm working with, you hire me to work with you on an unlimited basis, working on an income goal one-on-one as partners, where I'm getting a piece of your increase in income. The first thing we're going to do is go through this 5-step formula for success. Okay. Now, if you scroll down on this page, you'll see there's a video. Okay. It's for creating uncommon financial success. I can highly recommend that you check this video out. It's going to talk about the 5-step formula for success, but it's also going to really focus in on getting in touch with your big why. So there's an additional resource for you. And I'll put a link to that in your replay page, okay? Now, you want to set a deadline, a date, a dead specific date that you're going to achieve this goal. If you're not committed to that date, then give yourself more time, okay? You're in total control. This is the power of your conscious mind. You can consciously decide what you want, and you can consciously put together a plan and work on it and make it happen, okay? Now, 95% of our behaviors are unconscious. We don't think about it. It's just automatic, okay? So the best thing for you to do is take some very compelling, exciting goals that you would like to achieve, run it through this formula, and if you're going to get in the habit of doing the right stuff. And once you're doing the right stuff, it makes it easier and easier, okay? So set your goal, set a deadline, and write it down, okay? So let's talk about setting a SMART goal, okay? So setting your goal, start achieving 9% of the goals you set, okay? Now, you can achieve them if you're committed to them and if they're set up SMART. So the first thing you want to do, SMART is an acronym. So it's for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timed, okay? And you've probably heard about this before. So you want to get really specific on your goal. You want to imagine the perfect outcome for achieving it, okay? And then you want to decide what would be ideal. Now, if it seems unrealistic, if it seems unbelievable, then go ahead and notch it down and then go ahead and commit to the next best thing. What would be the next best thing that you could, believe in, right? And so you do that if needed. Visualize and experience the moment of success, that outcome in mind. Imagine, living through it, achieving that day. So a goal is actually an event in your future. So we're going to create that event in our mind. We're going to get really specific on exactly how we want that to be. And as we do that, we want to make it rich, vibrant, emotional, okay, exciting. You want to notice what you see, hear, feel, and say to yourself, okay? So get really specific and then write this down. Write down your goal and get as specific as possible. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it's measurable, okay? So how will you know that you've achieved your goal? So if you're working on making an extra $120,000 in 12 months, then that's pretty measurable, okay? But if your goal was to be more confident on the phone or talking with sellers, how do you measure that, right? So a goal takes time by definition, and you got to be able to measure it. So how do you measure it? your progress log, your bank account, you know, maybe updating your portfolio list if your goal is to buy more properties, your accounting reports, you know, if it's a weight loss goal, stepping on the scale, you know, and achieving your goal. How will you know when you're there? And how will you know when you're halfway there? So we're going to talk specifically about setting milestones today, things you've never heard me talk about before, as far as breaking this down into some major kind of mini goals and then breaking that down to make it achievable. Okay. So how will you know when you're halfway to your goal, right? So you want to track your progress daily or weekly as needed. And again, you want to know that evidence of how do you know when you've achieved it, right? So that's measurable. Attainable is it realistic? Is it achievable? So again, notch it down if you have to, or give yourself more time if needed so that it's attainable. So don't, you can make $120,000 in 12 months. That's pretty achievable, right? Doing that in 30 days is also achievable, but do you really believe it? And based on what else you got going on in your business right now and your history, is it really realistic for you? Okay. Making $120,000 extra within 24 hours, that may be, how are you going to do that, right? You could set that goal if it was really important to you, and then you could figure out how, but most people are not in a situation where they have to do that. And when they are, guess what? They can make those things happen. But it's like, you got to have a big why, right? So the question is, are you going to commit 100% or don't set it? So commit 100% to whatever goal you create. You're creating it, you have control. So if you're going to decide on it, go ahead and commit 100% into its achievement and do whatever it takes. You should be willing to do whatever it takes. And if you're not committed, then commit to something else that you are excited enough to commit to. And it is important enough, all right? So will you do whatever it takes? Would you just be as happy if you achieved half of it, right, in the same period of time? So we talk to people, they want to make $5 million in a year, right? Well, why is that important to you? Well, it would be great. Well, what if you got 2 million? Well, that would be good too. Well, so you'd be happy with 2 million? Yeah. Well, how about going for 2 million instead of 5, right? It's easier to do 2 billion instead of 5. And if you were just as happy to get 1 million, why go for 2? So keep that in mind. Would you be just as satisfied and fulfilled if you got less than your goal? Okay. And Mark told me a great story. I'm going to let him share a little bit about that, where we were going through this process, me and him together, just on his goal. And he just reported back to me today on what happened. And that was from back in March. So that's, we'll talk about that. Now, is it achievable or realistic for you? Well, has anybody else done it, right? So if anybody's done it, you could probably do it. But be real to yourself. Be realistic. All right. R, relevant. Is it important to you? Is it really important to you right now? Okay. It might sound good. It might be a good idea, but it's really, it's not important enough for you to commit 100%. Is it in alignment with your other goals? Okay. So if you do have other goals, is it going to support those other goals, or is it going to get you defocused off those other goals? So make sure all your energy is in alignment towards the same direction. And what do why do you want it, right? Why is it important to you? What will it do for you? That's what that other video I just showed you will really get you in touch with. What's it going to do for you if you achieve that goal? Because if it's like a money goal, financial goal, it's not the money, it's like what the money will do for you, how that's going to change your life or improve your life or give you more freedom. So you want to get in touch with that stuff. Okay, that's why I pointed you to that other video at the JV Income Doubler page. What difference will it make for you? And can it wait, or are you ready to commit now? Okay. And finally, timed. Your goals, by definition, have a deadline. It's just a dream or a notion without a deadline. If you can have it right now, then it's likely a feeling or some type of value. All right. It's because goals take time. You can't have it right now. All right. By definition, it takes time. So set goals that are important, but not urgent, to enjoy uncommon growth and success. So there might be some goals that are urgent for you to achieve. Let's get those set and run it through this 5-step process that I'm going to take you through. Now, you might have some other goals that would be wonderful and exciting, but they're not urgent, but they're very important to you. But if you don't do it, it's not going to, change your life. You're not going to lose too much. You got a lot going on. Maybe you'll do something else. Setting goals on things spending time on things that are important and not urgent is the most freeing thing you can do in your life. Because a lot of us, we motivate ourselves with these deadlines, right? With these goals, because it gives you that motivation. We'll talk about the benefits of all of this, but it gives you that motivation. It does get things done, but it does, the drawback is sometimes it does create some stress, right? And some people are actually, that's how they get things done, putting themselves in a stressful situation. But the most amazing changes you can make in your life and in your business and with your investing is working on goals that are not urgent. That really, it'll take you head and shoulders above other people that are being more controlled by their circumstances and not creating the life that they want. So that is SMART goals. So set a goal and make it smart. Mark, next step is we're gonna go about making our plan. Anything come up for you as I went through that you wanna talk about or ask?
Yeah. I just put my headset on, so let me know if you can hear me all right.
I can hear you.
Good. So when we started this topic, you and I talked about this about 10, 15 days ago, 2 weeks ago, a week ago. You and I talked about why we should bring this to the group. It's my belief that this is one of the most important components of the entire curriculum. Having goals, learning how to write out goals properly, setting goals, like you mentioned, we all know that written goals, or I should say we all have been told that goals are important, having goals are important, setting goals are important. So the question is then, are you doing it? First of all, do you believe it? And if you do, why not? I mean, that's the real thinking question to me is, why aren't you doing it? Are you afraid of achieving?
Well, I will tell you my reasons. Okay.
Tell me.
Because we all know we should be doing this. We've all heard it before. Okay. And we've done it before. Yeah. But why aren't we doing it on a consistent basis? Because we're not, sometimes we need a reminder like tonight. Mm-hmm. We just need to be motivated and reminded about, oh yeah, look at all these benefits. Why am I working so hard? Right? Why am I so overwhelmed? Right? Let's take a look at the benefits of, and I'll let you finish, but let's go ahead and take a look down here at the benefits of this process, right? So Mark, it creates direction and focus, right?
Exactly.
You enjoy more personal satisfaction. You maintain your motivation to take action. If you have any setbacks, if you're on this path and you have a plan and you're working your plan and you have a goal, then you'll get through those obstacles. You'll get through those setbacks, especially if you're committed. In fact, you're going to be off track. You're going to get behind. You're going to have obstacles. That's just part of setting a goal. You're going to be able to make easy daily decisions. When we get through these 5 steps, you're going to see you don't even have to
Think about.
during the week. Okay. You can just execute on all the things that are important to you. All right. It directs your focus on your priority outcomes. You become more productive. You have more clarity. It increases your time freedom. So a lot of people, why aren't they doing this, Mark? Well, maybe they feel like they don't have time, or they're just not taking the time. Okay. They're unorganized. This will get you more organized. Raise your hand if you want to be more organized. I'm raising my hand, by the way. Okay. All right. Yes, Mark raised his hand. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, push the little, emoji on the chat. Raise your hand if you want to be more organized. It increases your time freedom. It avoids wasting time. Okay. It allows yourself to be accountable to yourself. So, Mark, the great thing I like working with you is we create goals together. For richardroop.com, right? And for our supporting our coaching clients and all of that, and for our upcoming event, we have mutual goals. That is very helpful. So if you can set a goal and you share that, that's another good thing about writing it down. You get to share it with others, okay? And you have other people on board with your dream, okay? A dream, it's a dream with a deadline. A goal is a dream with a deadline. That's it, okay? So, but if you're on your own and you're feeling kind of lonely, engage with us more often. Get out there and meet with other successful entrepreneurs and talk to them either virtually or in person. But this process helps you hold yourself accountable. Okay, very powerful, and it aligns all your activity with what's most important to you, your purpose or your mission. All right, and of course, there are financial success and rewards for doing this on business goals and investing goals and money goals. And you stay focused on results. So those are some of the benefits, Mark, of setting goals. So you were talking about, like, why don't people do this?
Well, yeah. It could be laziness also. There could be a component of that. They could be afraid of not achieving the goal or achieving it. They could say, well, if I set the goal and don't achieve it, I don't want to fail. And ultimately, it's oftentimes, as you said, Richard, it's because of programs like this that we encourage goal setting. So here's a myth. The myth is that if I don't write down the goal, or if I don't set the goal, I don't have goals. And that's actually not true. Everyone has goals. Even if you're not setting a goal intentionally, subconsciously you're setting a goal, right? You're getting up in the morning, you're making breakfast, you're driving to the post office. Those are all goals. We as humans, we're what's called teleological. We are goal-centered beings. If I intend to go to the post office and I end up at the supermarket, that's going to cause a conflict because I meant to go to the post office and I end up at the high school, or I end up at the gym. No, I wanted to go to the post office. So we do set goals. Sometimes we just don't realize it. So what we're encouraging you on this call is to be intentional. Be intentional about the change that you want to create. Also,
yeah, and that's what it's about. It's about creating change.
Right. One of the
otherwise,
things,
like we said, you just described it, people doing things automatically out of habit, right?
Right.
That doesn't create any change. You're going to get the same results.
One of the things that's unique about how we teach and encourage goal setting and goal achievement is the subconscious, invoking the subconscious. So one of the things you mentioned, Richard, was attainable. And if you don't see yourself doing it, you won't achieve the goal. So you need to see yourself in your imagination achieving this goal. You need to be able to see yourself doing this. If I want to become a ballroom dancer and I don't really see myself as becoming a ballroom dancer, I probably, even if I set the goal, I won't go after it. I won't achieve that goal. every goal that you achieve in life, every goal, you've visualized it first, even if it's a split second before you achieved it. I remember when I was a kid, I chopped down a tree with an axe, and I remember looking at this tree before I started, and I'm like, I'll never get through this. And then right before the tree fell, I'm like, this thing's gonna fall. And that was when I knew that I was going to achieve that goal. And so if you think about that analogy of achieving in your subconscious, you need to visualize. So using your subconscious as a tool, as a helper, visualizing the achievement of that goal. That's how goal achievement starts. Okay, that's it for now, Richard.
And that's why that it's part of the process, right? It's right there in step number 1. Visualize your goals. So yes, you can unconsciously visualize something and have it happen. This is you using your power of your conscious mind to decide on things that you intend to have happen, that you want to have happen, and make it happen, and create the changes that you want in your life. Great. That's great, Mark. So step number 2 is to make your plan. Okay, so let's go back up here and take a look at step number 2, make your plan. So step number 1, set your goal. Step number 2, make your plan. How are you going to achieve it? What you want to do is you want to break up this goal. We'll use an example of making $120,000 and you're, adding that to your income. Okay, we're going to break it up. So we're going to break it up into milestones. And Mark, I'm going to share something I actually created it today. I think it's something that I kind of do, but now I've kind of outlined it specifically so we can do it all the time. How to break these goals down into bite-sized chunks, into big chunks, milestones. Then you want to assess where you're at now, because a goal is in the future where you're going. So it's like, where are you at now? And then where are you going? And now this plan is that bridge to get you there, okay? And then identify the resources that you have already that would help you, as well as the resources that you might need to acquire or find. Okay, what do you need, right? Now we're gonna break out this plan, this action plan, into tasks that you can complete. We're gonna break it down into tasks that you can knock out, that you can complete in less than an hour. So you can put on your schedule, you can block out an hour on your schedule and you can knock it out, get it done. And these are things that have to happen as part of your plan. And so they have to get done. So the next step, we're going to show you how to get those things done. Right, step number 2, making your plan, we got to identify those action items, those things that have to complete, those things that have to happen. And then once we have that list, we're going to prioritize those action items. So let's go ahead and go through an example of breaking that down, okay? So number 2, we're going to make our plan. And this is an example of creating realistic milestones of an income goal. So Mark, would you say that if someone wanted to make, add an extra $120,000 to their income over the next 12 months, do you think it makes sense for them to say, okay, I'm going to make an extra $10,000 every single month for the next 12 months? Or would it make more sense to average $10,000 a month over the next 12 months?
I like to look at it at 90-day increments, 90 days every 3 months. So 30,000 every 90 days would be my encouragement.
Well, okay. Yeah. So you would break it down into 90-minute chunks,
90
like
days.
a quarter.
90 days.
Yeah. Because you might not make, what happens if you want to make 10,000 a month for 12 months, that's 120, right? But what happens when you don't make 10,000 your first month? Right? Well, you can make it up. You have time, right? So we have seen great success helping people create 90-day cash goals.
That's right.
And Mark, you talked about using the goal implementation graph and sharing that tonight, and I said, well, we probably should do a whole call on it, right? That's a powerful tool that we use in coaching. and it allows you to set goals and track them, which we're going to be talking about. Okay. So we'll share that on a future call. But what it does is we like to, like if someone has an annual goal, we like them to have a goal, a milestone, like every quarter. That's what you're saying, Mark? Like every 90 days?
I like to look at it as a rolling 90-day average, because anything can happen in a month. You could have a bad couple weeks and then it just screws up your month. So that's why I like to look at it at 90 days. I don't want to discourage anyone, and so if you had a $10,000 per month goal and you went 30 days and you didn't make your 10 grand, people might give up.
I know.
And so
exactly.
That's why I like a night.
Exactly. So I'm gonna take that concept that you just laid out that we know works. It works gangbusters, and I've improved it, Mark. Here's the improvement. Okay. So what we're gonna do, as an example, our 100% of our goal is to make $120,000 over 12 months. That's our goal. That's the example that we're gonna work on. Okay. And yeah, sometimes it's easier to target the total amount over that entire period of time versus breaking it up evenly, like $10,000 a month. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 50% of our goal. In this case, would be $60,000. We got to decide when we're going to hit that. That's going to be a milestone. Then 25% of our goal, our first milestone, is actually going to hit 25%, which is what Mark just said. But now he said, maybe we're hit 25% of our goal in 90 days. I'm going to show you a little bit different, make it easier for you. Okay. And then our final phase is we're going to hit the rest of our goal to get our 120. That's the final phase. So here's what I suggest you consider. Consider setting a milestone to achieve 25% of your goal halfway through the time. So within 6 months. So if your goal was 120, then you'd want to do 30,000 within 6 months, and then do another. Go ahead and do 60,000 in the next 3 months, and then the final 30,000 in the last 30 months. Okay. So what this does is it gives you ramp up time, gets you into action, get things working, and then this part is just execution, right? And then this is just topping it off. So let's take a look at that. So if you give yourself 6 months to achieve 25% of your goal, the first month, like we said, you might not have any results, right? But that's okay. That's normal. That's why we like, pushing these income goals out at further milestones, okay? So now during the next 5 months, you start generating that income. And if your goal, your milestone is to have $30,000 in your pocket within 6 months, and then if that's your plan, then you're on track, right? You're not behind, you're on track. Okay, now your next milestone is to add another 60,000 during the next 3 months, so that you're at a total of 90 at the end of 9 months. Okay. Then 2 more months to get another 30 and achieve your goal early. So you can set a 12-month goal, but when I'm working with, hey, Mark, when I'm working with my JV income doubler clients,
yeah,
some people say, yeah, I want to do that in 6 months. Yeah, okay, great. Okay, but would be happy doing it in 12? Yeah, but I want to do it sooner. Okay, well, let's set a goal. If we're happy to do it in 12, let's set a whole goal for 12 months, but let's do it in 6 months, right? We're committed to the 12. Now, if we're committed to the 6 months, that's fine. We can do it in 6 months, but are we totally 100% committed, right? So in this case, you might make it your intention to achieve your goal early. This gives you a little bit of slack time, okay? So our first milestone is 30,000, at 25% of our goal halfway through. then 75% of our goal, 75% of the way through, and then achieve our goal by the deadline. Mark, does that make any sense?
Sure, you bet. I like it. I like it. It's good. You know, a lot of
You see how, because
people set these goals early before understanding, gosh, I have to learn a bunch of techniques. I got to get my marketing out. I got to get my lists. And so a lot of that setup and ramp up time, people don't factor in. They think it's kind of the goal setting, goal achieving process is linear. It's really not. It's more exponential, like a curve.
Like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exponential, kind of like this. Exactly. So I kind of manually figure this out each time I'm setting goals with my clients. Now we have a kind of a nice formula, right? Now, this applies to this is a pretty good, would apply to money goals. But you might have some other goals where it could be more linear, then that's fine, right? But if it's a money goal, consider this as, consider that ramp up time. Exactly. Consider the ramp up time so you can tweak it, and then you can accelerate. Then you have aggressive action once it's going, once you're rolling, right? Have you ever been in the flow, right? Just let it flow. And we're going to talk about how to make this really easy next. And then it's smooth sailing to achieve your goal, perhaps maybe early. Okay. So this I think, is a really good model. So to recap it, in this example, we're allowing 6 months to hit 25% of our goal, to allow for ramp up and acceleration, a viable action taking, and then we plan to be at 70% of our goal at the 75% mark. So now we're on track, and now we have a little bit of flexibility. If we're really doing well, we can probably hit our goal early. So that's what I put together today. All right. So now we're going to talk about planning your work and getting it into your schedule. Anything else on that, Mark, as far as making your plan?
Yeah, one minor thing. A lot of times I'll hear people say, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm really at overwhelmed. And a lot of times the first thing I think of is you don't have a plan. So the best way to get out of overwhelm is this step 2, is create a plan. Work with your coach. If you don't have a coach, take your goal and use the half step method, just like Richard laid out. What's 50% of the goal? What's 50% of the time? And let's do what is half the goal. So if you want to make 120, that's 60 grand in 6 months. How can I get there? What's half step again? 3 months, 30 grand. So how can I, and then just keep breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. So that's what I hear when people say, I'm overwhelmed. Oftentimes they don't have a plan. So that's why step 2 is so important.
Yeah. So again, so every time you put together your plan, there's going to be a couple of important dates. And so to keep it simple, you have your goal, and then you have a couple milestones, right? And so you want to set those dates, but in between all of that, you have all these action items, these tasks that you have to complete. You break it down. So make your list of all the things that have to happen as part of your plan, and that's going to get you out of overwhelm. Okay. And now we're going to prioritize those items. And now the next step, number 3, is plan your work. So set a goal, make your plan your work your plan, get feedback and adjust. So now we're going to plan your work. Okay, we're going to add these deadlines and these tasks into your weekly schedule. I don't know if anybody's making any money not operating on a schedule. You have to schedule appointments. You should be scheduling projects that you want to work on. You should be scheduling personal time, personal appointments, business appointments, phone calls, recreation, all that. You should have a daily routine in the morning that supports your goals. So you might have some relationship goals, some health goals, business goals, and then get those action items all into one schedule. So use one calendar. Okay. If you don't have a calendar, use Google Calendar. Okay. In fact, that's what I use. I use a calendar on my phone. All right. Everything. Now you can have multiple calendars but it should all feed into one appointment calendar that you look at every day. So what you're going to do is you're going to use one calendar. You're going to block out all your pre-existing priorities. Okay. Other things that you do on a regular basis or other things that you got going on. All right. If you're working a job, right, you're going to have to block that out, right? And then you're going to be, this is going to be really helpful if you do have a job or some other type of business that is detracting you from your real estate. Because we're talking to real estate entrepreneurs. We want you to, replace your other business income or your other job income with income from your real estate business, not only the cash up front, but building up that cash flow and building up that wealth for the future. Okay. So block out the pre-existing priorities, add the goals and the milestone celebrations. So it's not just a deadline, Mark, it's actually a celebration, right? I mean, if you said, I'm committed to making that 30,000 within 6 months, as soon as you hit that 30,000, you should be celebrating. And that's,
you want to reward yourself.
And then when you hit that, the next milestone, you should celebrate that. And then of course you're going to celebrate when you achieve your goal. And so when you think about, it's not a deadline, it's actually a celebration. Okay. And that's how you should visualize it. That's how you should visualize that particular day, because these are like mini goals within your plan, right? Now, time block those tasks in your plan that you can complete. It's not just like work on marketing. It's like get my mailing list or decide on my farm area or modify that marketing template, right? Or, fix, add this form to my webpage, things that you can complete. Just don't put in work on marketing or call sellers or raise some money. What are you going to do during that time block that you're going to complete? So if it's raising private money, what is the process, that plan, in order to raise the private money for your goal, right? What is the steps that have to happen? And then what step are you going to complete? And if you can't complete it, then break it down even further to things that you can complete. Now, it sounds like a lot of work, but this is how to achieve 90% of your goals. If you just spend the time setting the goal, you want to block out time working on your goal. You're going to block out time working on your plan. Now, once your plan is done, we're going to get that plan into your schedule, but you're also going to block out, working on your plan along the way. So we're going to add, first of all, we're going to add slack time, okay? Because unexpected things come up. So you don't want to plan out more than 60% of your available time. You need some slack time. So you actually go ahead and put that into your schedule, because sometimes things come up, but also something comes up and you didn't make that time block. That's a commitment to yourself. When you block out time to work on something, that's an appointment with yourself, and you should be just as committed to yourself in getting that done as if you had an appointment with somebody else, okay? So if you have to blow that off because of something that came up, then you need to reschedule it, right? So that slack time allows you to add things that you didn't think about, plus it allows you to reschedule tasks that you just couldn't get done, okay? In fact, maybe it took longer than you expected, right? That's the other thing to keep in mind is it's nice. I know Willie Hooks taught me this. He has a list of things that he's going to do if he ever has some free time. So if someone cancels an appointment or he gets someplace 30 minutes early, he has things to do that are important. He has a list of things that he can do whenever he has free time. So if he gets some bonus time, he's not going to waste it. So I love that. And then, so putting your schedule together includes planning, doing a review of your plans. So checking your progress, reviewing what you said you were going to do and what you did, and then what you're going to do next week. So you want to review your goal and review your plan every week as something that's already blocked out in your schedule. So some people like to do that Sunday night. Some people like to do that Friday night. Some people like to do that Monday morning, but block out time to monitor your plan. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about working your plan. So Mark, anything on step number 3, planning your work?
Yeah, I do have just a small bit. So Stephen Covey talks about planning your week. And so you should set aside time every week. Typically it's the same time, whether it's Friday or Sunday or Monday, and look out into your week and say, based on the goals that I've set, based on my priorities for this month, what's my plan for the week? And so that's where you want to set aside 15 to 20 minutes every week. So make this a habit. Set aside that time for planning. And if you fail, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail ultimately. So this is an important step. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I don't want to take the time to plan. I don't want to take the time to set up my schedule," and you just want to try to get away from that, because that's the wrong approach. You really want to try to be accountable for your success. And one of the ways, this is why we're doing this call, is one of the ways to be accountable for your success is be accountable for your time and know what you need to do when you need to do it. So that's step 3.
Right, and that's perfect. So obviously, if you're going to make it a habit, you should do it on a weekly basis. Go ahead and decide when you're going to do it, and then get that into your schedule. All right. And commit to it. It's so easy, Mark. I do this myself. I will come to that appointment, right, to review my plan and say, you know what, I can do that in a few hours, or I'll go ahead and do that in the morning. I'm kind of tired, right? And then it never gets done, right? And then make it a habit. Force yourself to keep those commitments, and it will become easier. Anything that you do that is new is uncomfortable. It's because it doesn't feel right because you're not used to it. And again, you might, if you ever lose the motivation to keep your word to yourself, then just go back and read your goal again. Part of your goal should be, you should be really clear on why it's important to you. In fact, you should write down with your goal why it's important to you. Again, I refer you back to that video I pointed to earlier. All right. So know your big why. Why is it important to you? That's your motivation. So now, step number 4, work your plan. Now this is the good part. Hey, Mark, have you ever been like in the flow and you're just knocking things out and you're feeling so satisfied and you're feeling so good, and you go through a period of time where just things are flowing. Have you ever experienced that?
Sure, of course.
Yeah. And have you ever had a day where you had like 3 important things to get done that day, and you actually knocked them all out and you got done early, and it's like, I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off because I got so much done,
Yeah.
I feel so satisfied, right? So now that's okay. If you knock things out early, you can reward yourself that way. Or again, like Willie would, if he still had energy or if he had something else that was important, he would start working on that. Or maybe knock out some of the things for the next day. Remember, it'd be nice to achieve your goal in 6 months instead of 12, right? Especially, like an income goal, that would be nice. It's going to accelerate your financial success. So step number 4, work your plan. So take predetermined daily actions. What's predetermined? Well, it's all those things that are in our plan. Okay. We had all the things that we decided are important. The goal's important. So in order to get the goal, I got to do these action items. So those are important. So we chose what's important. Then we went ahead and put that into our available time on our schedule. Okay. If you're not committed to working on it on your schedule, don't put it in your schedule. Okay. So if it's in your schedule, you should be doing it. It should be important. So you've already predetermined your actions. Now, don't think during the week, just execute. Monday, Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever, you just kind of take a look at your week. And every morning I get up and I look at my day. Okay, what do I got to get done today, right? But every day, if you fill up your week, your schedule with personal things and business things that are important to you that you want to do or work on or spend time on, then that's what you do during the week. You don't have to figure out what you're going to do with a free day or if I think, Mark, a lot of people that are just not achieving great success is they're just not doing a lot of action. They're just not taking a lot of actions. They might be an overwhelm, so they're kind of paralyzed. It might be procrastinating, could be fear and stuff. But a good way to get over procrastination, get out of overwhelm, and take action with fear is this 5-step formula for success. Okay, so if you get this far, now all you do is work your plan. Just execute, take action, do the things that you said you wanted to do, right? You should have maybe the top 3 tasks on your list. You got 3 important things for the day. Make sure you knock out those top 3. Take a look at if it's not scheduled, it should be, but if it's not scheduled, but you got to get done, then do the most important one first. But just focus in on knocking that out and completing it before you go to the second one, and complete that before you go to the third. So that focus, and one of my coach, Brandy Vale, she taught me this the other day, Mark, is I tend to have a lot of tabs open up on my computer, sometimes like 25 or 30 tabs, because I just go from one thing. Have you ever heard of that?
I've seen you do that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, so because I got so many things going on, right? But she said, you got to focus, right? She said, look, all of those things are in your history. Just close all those tabs. The reason why I keep them open is because I want to remember, because I get interrupted and then I get off on a tangent, another tangent, another tangent. Now I have all my energy. I have a little bit of energy going to all the 30 of those tabs, and I'm drained. And she said, just close them all. If you want to find them, they're in your history, right? Just close them all, reboot your computer, start fresh. Actually, I do that every morning now. And I just make sure all my tabs are closed and I start fresh. I reboot my computer and I feel so much better. Okay, so that's a little thing I learned recently from Brandy. I do know when we published The Secret of Creating Your Future book back in 1988 with Dr. Tad James, in that book, it talks about what's incomplete in your life. Because anything that's incomplete, whether it's a project or a task or anything like that, once you get it into your schedule, once you write it down, once you create a list, and once you put that list either on your schedule or a list of things to schedule later, now you mentally you free up the energy, and you'll have so much more energy because your unconscious mind doesn't want you to forget. Hey, it's important, don't forget. So when you write it down or you schedule it, now it relaxes your mind and it releases that energy, and now that energy you can direct towards your future. Okay, so don't think during the week, just execute. Focus on your top 3 tasks to complete that day. Because again, you're not going to overwhelm I made this mistake with my joint venture program a number of years ago. I scheduled I wanted to help so many people, and I wanted to make sure everybody was covered, that I overdid it, and I was working 12 hours a day, and I had very few breaks, and I was just working all day long doing deals, and it was just overwhelming, right? So I'm taking it. I don't want to do it. I don't have to work that hard. I don't want to work that hard, so I don't work that hard, right? So I'm not out there trying to fill up my schedule with a bunch of stuff, I'd like to have some slack time. That's my personal preference. If you are in a financial position where you really need to make some good money quickly, or you really need to double your income, or things are important to you, then yeah, put a full day in. I love working full days. Okay, and then I like taking full days off. Okay, so reward yourself, plan the use. So the top three things: get ahead of your schedule. All right, and plan the use of your free time, like we talked about. So if you get extra time, what are you going to do? Are you going to recreate? Okay, are you going to rejuvenate yourself? You revitalize? Are you going to work on a task for that's due, later, right? Or you have, what are you going to do? So you get, but plan in advance. Reward yourself for knocking out these things you said you're going to do. Focus. Ignore the distractions. Turn off the phone. Turn off anything that notifies you or beeps or anything like that. These time blocks that are on your schedule, these are appointments. These are appointments with others or appointments with yourself. And you want to just focus on that one thing and don't allow yourself to be distracted. Turn everything off. Okay. Keep the goal, your goal in mind, and why you want it. That's going to give you that motivation. And then, yeah, go ahead and get ahead of your schedule. So basically, number 4, work your plan is just throughout the week, you're just going to execute the stuff that you put on your schedule and make massive progress. What else? What do you think about that, Mark? What do you got anything to add to that?
Step 4 is all about execution. And this is really where accountability can come into play. If you have an accountability coach or if you have an accountability partner, because if you made a plan, you made a commitment to do something, and then, Marathon of Three's Company was on, or like Breaking Bad was on Netflix or something, and so you decided not to do it. This is really where an accountability partner can come alongside you and say, did you make this commitment? Yes. What got in the way? And really kind of cut through the BS of, I decided to do something else. I decided to take the day off. I decided to fuck off. Really, this is where execution stage, this is really where the rubber meets the road.
And this is the exact process where we get amazing results with our coaching clients. This is the process that we use. We set a goal, we make a plan, we plan our work, and then we execute. And in coaching, this is what we're doing with our clients. And then what the good thing about coaching is you're accountable to your coach, right? And if you're in the JV program, you're accountable to me because we're going to be talking more often. But yeah, with coaching, we work on monthly goals, annual goals, right? Long-term goals. And then we break it into monthly goals. And then we're always assessing where you at, where are you going, what did you do? What did you say you're going to do? What did you actually do? And then in coaching, we can actually then help if something got in the way, we can help people overcome that in the future, overcome if they're still stuck with it, or how to handle that in the future. So yeah, it's great to have some additional accountability when you're doing this, for sure. But the process is the same. The process is the same. So work your plan. All right. Step number 5. All right. You're never gonna probably go straight to your goal without any, curves, bridges, tunnels, obstacles, potholes, delays. So nothing's in a straight line. But if you went great there, that's great. All right. Now, if it happens all the time, then your goals aren't stretching you enough. Okay. One of the benefits of goals is it makes you grow. And that's important to all human beings, is to grow, right? And so this is each time you set a goal, it should take you further than you've ever gone before. It should take you to new heights in your life and in your business, and take you to new, exciting new places, because life is all about experiences. And so there should be some new stuff along the way. If you constantly are hitting your goals consistently over and over, easily, without much effort, then you need to push yourself a little further. Okay, so you're going to get feedback, and then you're an adjust. So you're going to track everything. You want to, like I said, you're going to measure where you're at on a daily or weekly basis, and then you're going to monitor what's going on. We have that weekly review and planning with yourself once a week for 15 minutes. You review what you did last week and what you're going to do in the next week, where you at on your goal, reread your goal. I think you should reread your goal every day. Willie Hook says you should read it 3 times a day. Okay, I don't know anybody who does that. I guess that probably would be much better if people actually did that, but nobody does it. Maybe somebody does it. Maybe somebody on this call. All right, so you want to know what's working and what's not. So if you monitor yourself and you get that feedback, you'll be, and you can track things. And everybody's talking about KPI, key performance indicators. Yeah, you want to track things that you can track. In fact, a lot of times we're actually setting goals not to make $120,000, but okay, to make $120,000, I need in cash up front, I need to buy, let's see, I want to go ahead and buy 6 houses, all right, and get 20,000 up front and some more money later, cash flow and all that. But I want 20,000 up front on 6 houses. Okay, for every house, I need 30 leads. Okay, 30 leads times 6 is 180 leads. Okay, so my goal is to generate 100 or 180 leads. So you can control that. You can control how many leads you generate. If you know what the averages are, how many leads to get a deal and your average profit per deal, you can set a goal to get 180 leads within that 12 months. And you say, well, it might take a couple months to close my last deal. So you want to do that in 10 months, right? So I need 180 leads in 10 months. And then you set your goals like that. That's called controllable inputs, because we do know you do have the ability to control how many leads you get, because if you're not getting enough, you can just up your marketing campaigns. And that relates to the number of appointments or offers that you make and all of that. You can set goals on offers, number of deals, number of leads, or the amount of money when it's related to real estate. All right, so what's working, what's not? Are you on target? So your weekly review is, you should know if you're on target or not. It's nice to actually, depending on your goal, you might be tracking this daily, right? The path might change. The how you get there might change. Okay, so that other video I told you to go watch, I talk about this. I talk about your intent, and Mark mentioned it, okay? You might intend to do something. I intend, okay, I want to make $120,000, add that to my income. Well, why is that important to you? Okay, that's what I do in that other video. I drill down on why. And then, okay, you feel, okay, if I did that, it's gonna allow me to do this, and do this. That's my intent. The money is gonna allow me to do these other things. Now, the question is, you might discover a whole new path that allows you to achieve your intent, the things that you wanted from that money, right? You might find a new way to achieve that intent that is not connected to that money goal. So that might change your goal. So what's important is that you achieve not the goal, but your intention behind the goal, okay? So we don't have a lot of time tonight to go into that, but that other video goes into that in depth. So that other video is at that JB Income Doubler page. All right, so the how you get there might change. Now, are you committed to your deadlines? So you want to be committed to your deadlines just like you're committed to the final deadline, you want to be committed to your milestones as well. And then review your goal daily. There is no failure, just feedback. The only way you can fail setting a goal using the 5-step formula here, this 5-step formula for success. If you set a goal and make sure it's smart, if you break down your plan and then you lay that into your schedule, it actually gets into your schedule, and then you commit to knocking those things off your schedule. And if you get that feedback and adjust along the way, there's no way you will fail at achieving your goal unless you give up. Unless you decide, I'm not going to do what it takes. Unless you decide, you know what, I have other things that are more important. I'm going to let this go, or I'm going to do it later. That's your decision. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But you're going to, if you're committed to the goal, if you go through this process, 90% of your goals you will hit, okay? Maybe, in the beginning, 85%. But most successful people, if they know how to set goals and they develop this habit and this discipline and this skill, and what you do is you apply this and look at the wonderful things. Mark, I can give you story after story after story of the amazing things in my life that I created using this process. Amazing things. Maybe it's fun to talk about. It's motivating, but it's not step by step instructive, which is what we wanted to knock out tonight. So maybe we can talk. People can give us some stories and stuff tonight. We're going to open it up to Q&A in a minute here. So that's it. The 5 steps: set a goal, make a plan your work your plan, get feedback, and adjust. Do you have anything to add to that on getting feedback and adjusting your plan?
Yeah, step 5 is very important. Step 5 is very real. I can't remember if it was Patton or Truman who said, the plan is a good start. And then once you get into battle, then everything changes. And so the feedback, there's a couple of analogies that we use. The heat-seeking missile. If you actually watch a missile, it doesn't just go in a straight line and hit its target. You can see it zig and zag, and it kind of goes back and forth. It's kind of interesting as it gets feedback. Oh, I'm off target. I'm going to go this way. Oh, I'm off target again. I'm going to go this way. And I've heard also that a transcontinental flight is like 97% of the time they're off course, and so they're constantly making little tweaks, and then they're too far to the left. They're going to have to go back. And so I think that one of the analogies that I'll always remember is the sports analogy. We have a scoreboard, right? And the scoreboard for the players is always like a real-time visual of where am I in space and time? Where am I in these 90 minutes, or where am I in these 3 periods? And then how are we doing on the goal? The goal is to win. How are we doing? So they're looking up at the scoreboard. They're paying attention to the scoreboard, and the feedback is important. And so don't deny yourself the feedback, because sometimes that's important to know. What I'm doing is not working. I need to change direction. I need to get more resources. I need to get help. I need to work harder, longer. I think it's a great process. 5 steps, real easy to understand, very important for success.
Yep, very good. All right. Well, all right. So let's take a look at what else we got here. And if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat. Mark is looking at that, but we're going to let you unmute yourself and ask questions if you have any. I know this is a lot of information. You do have a copy of these notes when you log in to your program, where the replay is going to be. There's a link to these notes. It's rapodia.com, call-notes. July. It's also going to be on the page when you log into this program, Turning Your Dreams into Reality. That's where we're going to put the replay. There's a link to these as well. And I might put some additional resources on here over the next few days, maybe by the time we get the replay up. So we got these slides. Now, to recap.
We had a question on Facebook. Can I knock it out? Because it's a good one.
Yeah. Let's knock it out.
Okay, so the question was from Matt Smith. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. How big of a goal do you set for someone who is new, who's newer, is what he said. Newer kind of reminds me of like someone who's new. So how big of a goal do you set for someone who's new? So it's a good question, and I always like to look at, people come into the program, they want to make $1 million or they want to buy 100 houses, and I'll say, okay, great. What did you do last year? What did you do last month? Well, I haven't done anything, or I haven't made any money. And so when someone's new, I always like to say, well, what's realistic? What's attainable? Kind of the SMART goals, and just kind of give them, what we've seen. What is realistic? 120,000 is very realistic, and that can change people's lives. Now, what my coach used to tell me. Now he introduced, or I was introduced to my coach after I had been doing the business for 10 years. And then he said, so this is not newer. I was already, mature in the business. And he said, set your goal to a point where you feel like you're going to make yourself throw up. Like it's like scary, and then back it off just a little bit. So you don't want to be like scared of your goal, but it should be stretchingly realistic. So it should stretch you. So you feel like, I'm kind of nervous about this goal. I feel like I'm going to, get sick. I'm nauseous. And then he said, back it off just a little bit. And so that was like after you've been doing the business for a while. But if you're new, 6 to 12 deals a year, easy.
Okay. All right. Real good. So yeah, when you're really performing well, you want that growth. You want to stretch yourself. So I love that. What's going to make you freak out and then notch it down? I call that the next best thing. Now, if you're new, it's like, what's the ideal situation? Let's set a goal. Okay, what time frame? All right, 12 months. All right, what would be ideal? And then you decide what would be ideal. And if you believe that's possible for you, then yeah, let's go. If it's exciting, let's do it, right? But if it seems overwhelmingly big, then just notch it down to the next best thing. And now, what I do with I work with all types of entrepreneurs, helping them double their business. So my goal when I'm working with JV Partners is to either double their business if they're making more than 100 grand, right? All right. So if they're making 500,000, what I want to do is I want to work with them. I want to set a goal to double that 500, add an extra 500,000. So that might be 12 months, right? So I get a percentage of that increase, right? But if they're already doing 500,000, I can just go in there and look at those best opportunities, those high leverage points that will double their income. All right. So I think I can double anybody's income, but if someone's making 10,000 a year and I double their income, that's not going to change their life. So, you know what I mean? If they're making 10 grand. So I'll give you my story, and I'll tell you what I did, what I'm doing with folks. But my story is when I became the marketing director for NLP.com, it was a brand new startup. I mean, it wasn't really a startup, but we didn't have any income from books, tapes, and seminars and that type of thing. We didn't have much. My job was to increase the sales, and I was getting commission, right? And the first year, I only made $5,000. My first year as the marketing director, I made $5,000 because I had to set everything up. And I had to find out what was working, what wasn't working, but I did get some stock in the company, Okay, so that was my incentive. And then the next year I made $32,000. And so that's 6 times my income, right?
Yeah.
All right. But I also got some stuff. Now the next year I made like 64,000, right? And the next year I doubled it again. Okay. And that's an example of I loved my work. I was growing. I was satisfied. I was getting additional benefits of being in the personal growth and development business and that type of thing. I was learning how to do direct response marketing. I was learning how the internet worked and all of that thing. So it was great all around, and it's a highlight of my career. Okay. Now, when I work with JV partners, I tell them, look, double one of your active income streams or make an extra 100,000 guaranteed. It's like double your business or make an extra 100. So if I'm working with someone in real estate, we never have a goal of making less than 120,000. So that's because if they're not doing anything, we could, like you said, Mark, that's pretty easy, right? But if they're doing really well, then I'll double whatever they're doing. And if it makes sense, we can do it in 6 months. We don't have to do it in a year. It depends. So someone new to answer Matt's, was it Mark or Matt?
It was Matt.
It was to answer Matt's question. Someone new, I think they should shoot for 6 figures their first year for sure. But like you said, it depends on what they've done in the past, and how much time they have, right? But
yeah. I mean, if they're going to be part-time or working 5 hours a month, I mean,
yeah,
probably.
I think if you're going to do this, you got to commit to at least 5 hours a week. Now, if you do at least, I think you should do 5 to 10 hours a week minimum. But if you do that consistently, you can make 6 figures in a year. Okay. So but what people do is they're just wasting their time. They're not doing anything productive. We just showed you how to get things done. This is how you get things done. It's not going on YouTube and watching videos and just gathering more and more information and studying and hanging out. You gotta be working on specific goals. And that's the biggest difference between someone who's floundering and someone who's achieving. Is the person who's achieving, they are working towards specific goals. Okay. All right. Now,
cool.
It could be because it's part of a program they're in. Could be because they've committed to other people. Whatever it is, you need to have time-based things that you're working towards. All right.
That's it.
So to recap, making an extra 120,000 in our example in no time flat. All right. Number 1, set a goal. Number 2, break it down into milestones and tasks. Number 3, focusing on the first milestone. And I didn't mention this earlier, Mark, but instead of focusing, you mentioned it. Instead of focusing on that big number 12 months down the road, focusing on that number you want to hit in 3 months, right? Like you said, 90-day goals, right? What I showed you is, our goal in this case, it was 30,000 in 6 months, right? So we should be totally focused on getting that 30,000 within 6 months, no matter what. And that's our focus. We already have the game plan for the whole thing, but we're just going to work towards achieving that first milestone. All right. Then create your plan, schedule your actions, work off your schedule, and track and adjust. It's that simple. Okay. So we talked about some of the benefits of doing this. And so that's it. So what other questions do we have? And we'll wrap things up.
That is it.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? You want to unmute yourself and say hello?
So,
All right.
sounds like we got homework to do.
Yes, you do. This is a doing this. Yes, I just told you what to do. Now go do it. So Wayne, what are you going to do next?
Well, I'm gonna have to make up all of that schedule. But I was thinking about what would be really nice if there was like a sample schedule, you know, that kind of broke down all those. Right there in the fifth step, you kind of outlined like you know, you can, if you get 180 leads,
Yeah.
and you need to
Yeah.
make so many, you know, that sort of a thing, you know, how to break all that down, you know, so that, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, that's called controllable inputs. Yeah. So now, uh, you, what's important is make sure you start with the whole process. Go through the whole process, okay? Because what I want you to do is make sure that you have a goal and that it's smart, okay? So this all relates to a specific goal. So if you're clear on a goal that you're working on now, that's great. If you are working on a goal, go ahead and spend some of the, you know, you've been reminded of some stuff or you learned some stuff. Go ahead and get really specific on your goal, adjust your goal, make sure that that part's done. Then just go to step number 2, which is to make your plan. Okay, have you done that? Because if you haven't laid out that game plan with the milestones and the step tasks, you're not doing the process. So you start with the goal, make sure it's smart, then create your plan. And you know, we kind of covered this, Wayne, when we did the boot camp in February, because we laid out the entire game plan for generating $28,000, right? So that's like all of the steps. Now the question is, once you have all the steps, you got to get it within that time frame. You got to get that into your schedule, okay? Blocking out those little pieces to get them done. All right, and those are those top 3 steps, Wayne, are the most important, because after that you just execute and monitor yourself. So let us know how we can help you on that. And we are going to have for the members, we're having a Q&A call next Wednesday, like we did this week as well. So I'd love to hear some people. Oh, I'd love to hear from some people that actually made some progress between now and next Wednesday. I'm doing a marketing training on Saturday morning. I sent an email out on that. Actually, let me go ahead and just show you that. I'll share my screen. Okay, if you go to Repodia. All right, so let's go to Repodia. All right, if you go to Repodia.com, right at the top is this intergame call that we're doing right now, okay? If you're watching this and you have not enrolled for this, then go to Repodia, click on this link, and that way you'll be able to get the replay and the handouts and stuff. All right, next this is the training that we're doing on Saturday. So Saturday, we're doing a marketing training. I've been getting a lot of stuff prepared for my upcoming boot camp in October, and I'm going to start sharing some really cool things that I've come across and developed. I'm going to be doing that Saturday on July 24th. If you want to be involved in that, you can sign up for free. So that would be the next step for you guys. And then after I do my presentation on Saturday, I'll also do some Q&A. Here's the replay of the Ultimate Training webinar that we did, where we covered what works and what doesn't work with direct mail. And then this is my event. I did do some updates to the site, so if you're interested in joining our boot camp in October, go here, and I think that's it. Yeah, I just wanted to show that's where you can find information on Saturday's training. All right. Well, Mark, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's great. It's good content. Very important stuff.
Yeah, you can't get enough of it. It's always a little bit different. And how you like my new procedure for more systematically creating an exponential growth on, creating your milestones. So that I've always been doing that manually, because most of the time we do need more time in the beginning, and then we can accelerate it, right? As we get rolling, as we have that momentum. So I think that's a pretty good model to keep in mind next time you're setting milestones.
Good.
Well, thank you so much, buddy. And
Yeah.
happy birthday. I know your birthday is on Sunday, so wish you a very happy
Yeah,
birthday.
happy birthday on Sunday as well.
Oh,
All right.
yes. Yeah, we're good. They're going to take me out to dinner and a movie and that type.
That'd be great.
Well, I thought we were going to stay home, but they're going to take me out.
All right. Well, have fun. We'll be
All
in
right.
touch with good content tonight. Thank you, as always.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to you Saturday or next week.